Hello and welcome to Zirkzank Says. In this episode I'm going to be telling you how to get rich, or rather this is a guide on making money. Or what people are actually implying when they say that is, I want to earn more money than most people I know, millions or even billions. And success is not for everyone. Not everyone can be that financially successful. Not everyone can be, but anyone can do it, potentially. It requires you to make the right decisions. Most of the time. Sometimes you don't even have to make any decisions and you can just get rich. But as like a methodology, a starting point that does rely on luck, but it reduces the amount of luck you need to get rich. This is what this guide is, basically. You don't need more than a comfortable living wage to make it through life. However, by that I mean, if you live in shelter and you meet basically all the criteria of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, then shelter, food, and water, just like the fact that you're alive to survive and maybe even reproduce, that's all you really need. You don't even need to reproduce to live in life or have a comfortable life. But yeah, you don't need more than an above average wage or minimum wage to live. Like, you actually don't need more than minimum wage unless you're in a bad situation with an expensive house, or you're living in the wrong location for the amount of money you earn. But that's another topic for another time that I'm not covering here. The point is, most people, that isn't enough money, and most people spend time fantasizing about being rich. Rich is not, about rich, what does that even mean? I need to go to sleep, but I also need to make this important video. Being able to afford to buy anything that you want, or go anywhere you feel like. You can argue that not wanting expensive things allows you to buy anything you want, because if you change what you want to only be cheap things, then you can always buy what you want because what you want is cheap. But I'm talking about what you want as in literally anything within reason. For example, you want to buy a car that costs £1 million. That's a stupid decision, I would say, but let's just say that's what you want. Or to go anywhere you feel like, because money gives you the freedom and the power to have fun. Some people say that money can't buy happiness, but those people are always poor and try to justify it by sounding deep and insightful. Or they're rich and they're trying to make poor people not feel so bad about being poor. But the point is, the reality of the situation is that everybody wishes they had more money unless they have more than enough money. Greedy people always want more, but that's different. Everyone wants to be rich or to have excess money. They want to have a comfortable life and excess money so that they can, like I say, go where they want and do what they want. And anyone who doesn't want that is lying, or they're rich. Or they've decided to cast away all material and experiential desires and say that nothing matters other than living in the present. All they eat is a bowl of rice and oats every day, and they just sit with their legs crossed, thinking about how connected they are with the universe, like monks. But if you don't live in the monk's lifestyle, then you need money. And if you need money to survive, then you probably want more money, because it makes surviving easier. So the point is, to become rich, what you need to do is acquire lots of money, or expensive things that are worth money. So how do you do that? Well, there are many ways to get the things that you need but it usually requires convincing people to trade with you. Or you could find expensive things outside, you could make something expensive, but ultimately, to get value out of those things that you find, for example, gold, or a piece of software that you develop a piece of software, or you develop a book, or you go out and find diamonds, or you find gold, inherently those things don't necessarily have value that you can use unless you trade with somebody. So getting rich is the act of convincing people to trade with you. The trades that make you rich are the ones that benefit you more than the other party. And if it was a fair trade, you wouldn't be able to get richer than them. Is kind of what I'm getting at here. I'm not saying you have to be an asshole to somebody. I'm not even saying that you should trade with people if you think that you're scamming them, because you definitely shouldn't. But I'm just saying that you need to get more value from it. You need to get people to give you more value than you give them. That's kind of how you become richer than more people. You get lots of people to give you bits of money so that you end up having more money than them as a collective. Or someone who has a lot of money gives you a lot of money for something that they feel is worth that much money, like an IP, an intellectual property, or like a little bit of diamond, a little bit of compressed carbon. If someone wants to give you money for compressed carbon, that money can buy you a house, that money can buy you food. This little bit of compressed carbon that you've got in your hand can't do any of that. It can't feed you and it can't keep you warm. So trade the diamond for the money, because the money can get you stuff. Or just trade the diamond for the house and the food, if you get what I mean. Like, that's you getting a better deal, because the diamond that they get is fucking worthless, but the food you get allows you to survive. So you get a food and a house and they get a diamond. That's an unfair trade. It's unfair for them, really, because you benefit way more than they do. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Does it? It doesn't matter, because they wanted the diamond, you wanted the house. You can convince them that it's fair from that perspective. So that's all you really need to do. Trades that make you rich are the ones that benefit you more than the other party. If it was a fair trade, you wouldn't be able to get richer than them. Hardest part of making unfair trades is persuading the other party that they are the one getting the better deal. Now in the diamond situation, if you're trying to sell somebody a diamond, telling them that they're getting the better deal is kind of like the easiest thing in the world. If they want a diamond and you give them a diamond and they give you money, they want the diamond more than they want the money, so it isn't even hard to persuade them. That's the basic principle. Make smart trades. And it doesn't just apply to products or property, it also applies to your time. Trading time, if you want to get rich, trading time is an absolute no-go. Do not trade time. You can't make lots of money trading time. You only live for about 80 years, and by the time you're old enough to start a company, or buy property, or develop software, or do anything, you're a quarter of the way to death. Because I'm saying, like, you're 18 to 20 years old by the time you can start. For example, I'll be 22 years old by the time I finish university, and assuming that I die when I hit 80, that's 58 years. If you're calculating based on the amount of time I've got left, I've got 58 years to sort something out. And if I get it sorted after 58 years and I die, it's kind of like, I don't get to fully utilize the wealth. So you don't waste your time trying to get rich by doing something that pays you by the hour. The most you can ever earn working from the end of school up until retirement is 50 times 52 times 40. So that's 40 hours a week times 52 weeks a year times the 50 years that you work. At minimum wage, that's this much money. I was going to calculate that, but you can do the calculation yourself. Take the money, the calculation, let's just say that you get £8 an hour. Just put 8 times 40 times 52 times 50. That's how much money you can get for your entire life's work. In fact, fuck it, I'm gonna pull up the calculator and do it here. So what was it? It was 40 times 52 times 50 times 8 equals, right, so that gives you the maximum you can earn doing an £8 an hour job for your entire life's work is £832,000. Now you think that's a lot of money, but it's not, because as I've done in a different calculation somewhere, that the amount of money that you have to spend on rent each year is like, let's just say you have to spend 300 a month times 12 times fucking 50 that's how much you have to spend on rent. Cancel that. See, you've already taken a quarter of your wealth goes on that. Food, got to spend like what I don't know, £100, like £100 a week, 100 times 52. Am I missing any calculation here? Times 50 equals, oh shit, we just spent £250,000 eating food in our life. So yeah, when you take away 180,000, 260,000, you're already at half of your earnings. It's 400k, half your earnings. Not to mention all the utilities and insurance and additional costs throughout your life. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that there is kind of a limit to what you can achieve, and you're not going to be able to work constantly 8 hours a day for 50 years at £8 an hour, and then come out with 400k in your wallet because you'll have been spending it throughout the time. There'll be no point not spending it. The point is, you can save a lot of money doing this, but getting back to this, most of the money goes to pay rent, food, bills, clothes and insurance. I didn't mention clothes, computers, toothpaste, toilet paper, shower gel, washing up liquid, knives and forks, furniture. You know how expensive couches are? They're fucking expensive. So the point is, getting back to this calculation assumes that you don't have any kids. Kids are expensive and use up the entire remaining amount of the money. So your entire life's worth of wages doing a job with a fixed wage that I just calculated, you think that the 400k is a lot of money, but it's not once you realize that you actually spend it all on everything else. Now, if you want to say that having kids is fine, and that spending all your money on your kids that you earn like that is fine, you can say that and you can do that, but obviously you don't want to do that because you want to earn more money. So you realize how valuable time is. Now at this point, hopefully you realize how valuable time is. You can start to make smarter decisions and get rich quicker. So getting rich quicker is the point. There's like, anyone can get rich. Like I said, if you have infinite hours to work, you can work for infinite hours, but you can't do that because you don't have infinite time. The only thing that you can guarantee is that if you make a product that people can buy infinite number of times, then you've got infinite scalability on your money. You can multiply the number of sales, but you can't you can't increase the number of hours in your life, but you can increase the number of sales that you can get on a product. So instead of getting £8 per hour, try and get £8 per sale, or try and get £800 per sale, but try and get 100 times less sales. If you get what I mean, that's the scaling. Now, going back to this. Okay, if you realise how valuable time is, you can start to make smarter decisions, get rich quicker. Anyone can earn £1 million if they work for 100 years and never spend any money on staying alive. But millionaires take shortcuts. Get the profit from 100 years worth of work in a tenth of the time. That's the important part. How? You have to exploit other people. You need to trick or persuade people into paying you more money than you spend. And to make this happen often enough that you can and make this happen. Make it happen often. It's like I said, make it happen make it happen hundreds of thousands of times. Make somebody give you £8 over and over and over again until you have lots of money. That's what getting rich is about, basically. There's no real secret to getting rich. Just convince people to give you money for something. That sounds obvious, but it literally can be anything. If you can convince them to give you money for it, then that will get you rich, if you can do it often enough. And by convincing people to give you money, at this point I should really point out that I don't mean you don't need to walk up to 1 million people and say, hey, buy this off me. You just need to get 1 million people to see that your product is there and buy it. So, for example, you need to put like a game or an app, a mobile app or a mobile game, in the eyesight of somebody, and then make them want it somehow. So, if they see an app on the App Store, they need to want to buy it or somehow give you money from it. Now, usually you want an app to be free and put ad money on it, and then get or add a free version of the app and a paid version of the app, so that people play the free version and they want more, so they buy the paid version. That's convincing somebody to do it just by the product itself. That's not you going up to them and saying, hey, you really want to buy this game, you really do want to buy this game. You don't even have to talk to people to convince them to buy something. You just have to put it out there and make them want to buy it. So that's what I'm trying to say with that. You have to make that happen often enough that it actually makes you more money. So it can be literally anything. You want to make money if that something is easy to reproduce or cheap to manufacture or essential in people's lives. Now, these are the key things to making something make more money than something that makes less money. Software, I keep going on about it, fills all of this criteria. Software is easy to reproduce. It's digital, so you already have an infinite number of copies. You just distribute the software to all the devices that they have. You distribute software for them to download, and they can download infinite copies. Infinite number of people could download an infinite number of copies. So that's how much you can reproduce that at a zero cost. It's cheap to manufacture because all you need to do is write the program once, and if it's essential in somebody's life, then, well, they need to buy it, so they will buy it. If they need it, they'll get it. It's just as simple as that. Or if they don't necessarily need it, like a game, they don't really need a game, but you can make somebody think that they need a game, or just make them want a game. Like, people, if somebody wants to have fun and they want a game to do that, then they need to buy the game to have fun. So that's what they'll do. Anything digital, like a game or a book, works as software. Marketing is cost-free. I explained that just a second ago, but putting money into marketing usually gets you more out than you put into it. So that's, you put money into getting it into the eyes of people, and then more people will see it, and if it's a product that people want to buy, as I was saying, it should be. All you need to do is make a product that somebody will want for whatever reason, then they'll buy it once they know it exists and they have the money. And even if they don't have the money, sometimes people will buy something. You know, look at people taking loans out for things. That's truly exploiting people, which is just disgusting to do. But that's how you get rich. I'm just saying, you need to make yourself get rich before you go about making positive changes, if that's what you want to do. Staying competitive, being better, and making products that sell themselves. This is an important thing to do, or to bear in mind. You need to make products that people want. I keep saying that. Stay competitive. If you're making the same product as somebody else, why would a consumer or a customer buy something off you? How can you sell something to somebody when they've got a better offer? Simple answer, you can't. So make your offer better. Self-sustainable business, having other people work for you. Now this is a particularly negative one, I would say. I don't like this, but this is how you make money. You set up a business that your restaurant, or you make a shop that makes £1,000 a day. Well, let's say you have a shop that has that makes £1,000 a day. That's £1,000 a day after buying the products and then selling them, and then having the taxation away. If you're the one sitting in the store selling those products, you can make £1,000 a day, or you can pay. You can make £2,000 a day, or you can make that money and pay somebody £800 a day to run the store for you, while you're making £1,200 a day while they're running the store. So you get the money from them doing the work. You can save up that £1,200 a day to buy another store, and then pay somebody in that identical store to do the same thing. Now you're making £2,400 a day, while you're paying these people, each person, £800 a day. That's a very, very oversimplified version of looking at how having other people work for you works, but basically that's why I hate that system. So that's why I'm saying it's better to sell software ethically, you know. Investments, money for zero efforts. Yeah, giving somebody money and saying, I'll give you £50,000 to start a company if you give me 10% of the money that business earns. If they're giving you 10% of the money that business earns, and you've given them 50k, if that business earns 500k, you've made your 50k back, because that's 10%, and then every bit of money that they earn after that 500k is money that you get essentially for free without having to do any work. So investments, another great way to make money. Buying into a percentage of a company, which you can do if it's like a massive percentage, like 10%, like owning a part of a company, or owning stocks in a company, for example. You know what stocks are, so I don't even need to explain it, but the point is, investing into things gets you money without doing anything. Selling software to people, once you've made the software and once the software is out on the store, all you have to do is make sure more people buy it, and you don't really even have to do that. If it's good enough, it'll sell itself. People will use your game, they'll use your app on their phone, and then they'll tell all their friends to do it, if they like it. And if they don't, well, if they don't, they'll say that it's shit, and then you can just make something better. No, not to make that again. So yeah, that is the Zirkzank guide on how to make money. I might have left a few things out, and I might update the video, but You know, you shouldn't have much trouble becoming a millionaire if you follow my advice here. It's the advice I'm going to follow, once I can be bothered to do it, which is another issue, you know, being motivated to do this. That's always the tricky part, actually. Like, I've laid it down on paper here, and it's like, well, if it's so simple, why haven't you done it yet? The answer to that is because to do this, it does actually require you to be quite a dedicated, hard-working person. You need to put a lot of effort into it. I know it says here 0 effort, but this requires you to actually have a bit of money to start with, and I don't. So making a software for free, or making a book for free, you know, anyone can write a book. And if you just spend a lot of time, write a page, read the page, read it out loud until it sounds right, write it down, change it, stop, go away from the book, come back to it, read it out loud so you can hear yourself saying it, and if it sounds right, keep it. If it sounds wrong, change it, and just keep doing that. Write a book about anything at all. Do what I say, so read it until it sounds good. When you've got like a decent amount of pages, talk to a publisher like Amazon Online Publishing, or you know, Penguin, or whatever those other book publishers are. I don't know, HarperCollins. I don't know. Go talk to a publisher. I think Amazon is probably one of the best ones though, and just get the book available to be sold. Probably no one will buy it, but anyone who buys it will, that's money that you get for that. Do another book, somehow generate interest for your book, like make people interested in it, people buy it, you know, it's as simple as that. But like I'm saying, anyone can do it. You don't need to be a programmer and make programs. You can make anything that's easy to reproduce. You can make YouTube videos, anyone can do that. How do you get people to view your YouTube videos? Well, you need to make YouTube videos that people will want. Like this, for example. People will want to see a video on how to make money. So, if you make it so that your video on how to make money makes money, for example, putting ads on it, I put ads on this video, so I make money from people watching this video. Google makes more money than I make on this, but I still make some money on it. So that's the point. I just need to get lots of people to watch this video. If you're watching this video, you're one of the people who is lots of those people. And I've given you something that you feel is worth the money that you've given to me. If not, you dislike the video. If you do think it was worthwhile, you like the video, or you'll just do nothing to it. It doesn't matter. The point is, you viewed it, I got ad revenue, and the point, I got the ad revenue basically at the point where you clicked it. So as long as I was able to convince you to click it, or somebody else was able to convince you to click it, that's all that needed to happen. So that's how business works. That's how making money works. It sucks to be on the arse end of it, but we all are every day. So we deal with it. We look at how we can do it ourselves, and yeah, thanks for watching.